Today we're going to continue reading our Magic Treehouse book number 5, Night of the Ninjas by Mary Pope Osborne. Let's review what's happened so far. Jack and Annie went back to the woods and the treehouse was there. There was also a note from Morgan saying that she needed their help. They need to find 4 things to help Morgan. There was an open book in the treehouse, and it had a picture of a mountain and ninjas. So Jack and Annie decided to go there to help Morgan. Now they're there, and 2 ninjas had them come with them. So the ninjas took them across a stream and through the woods, and now they're about to go into a cave where Jack thinks that they're going to find the ninja master. They also have a little mouse with them that Annie is calling Peanut. Let's review our book map. Our title, Night of the Ninjas. Our characters, Jack, Annie, the mouse, and the ninjas. Where, or our setting, woods, Old Japan, a mountain, and a cave. When, Old Japan. Let's review the parts of the book. Front cover, back cover, spine and title. Front cover, back cover, spine and title. Front cover, back cover, spine and title. These are the parts of a book. All right, friends, let's continue with chapter 6 of Night of the Ninjas. Chapter 6. Shadow Warrior. Jack and Annie went into the cave. They followed the ninja through the darkness. The back of the cave was lit with dozens of candles. Shadows danced on the walls. In the flickering light, Jack saw a dark figure sitting on a woven mat. The ninja master. The ninja bowed to the master. Then he stepped inside. The ninja master stared at Jack and Annie. "Sit," he said. Jack and Annie sat on the cold, hard floor. Squeak! The mouse poked its head out of Annie's pouch. "It's okay, Peanut," said Annie. The master stared at the mouse for a moment, then he looked at Jack and Annie. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm Jack, and that's my sister Annie," Jack answered. "Where do you come from?" the master asked. "Frog Creek, Pennsylvania," Annie answered. "Why are you here?" he asked. "We're trying to help our friend Morgan Le Fay," said Jack. "She left us a message." Annie pointed to the short ninja. "We gave the message to him." "You mean you gave the message to her," said the ninja master, "and she has given it to me." "She?" said Jack and Annie together. The woman ninja's eyes sparkled. Jack and Annie thought she might be smiling. The master held up Morgan's note. "Perhaps I can help you," he said, "but first you must prove yourselves worthy of my help." Just then the tall ninja appeared. He made a sign to the master. The master stood up. He handed Morgan's note to Annie. "We must go now," he said. "The samurai are close." "Samurai?" said Jack. He knew that samurai were fierce Japanese fighters. "Were they the ones in the valley?" Jack asked. "The ones with the torches?" "Yes, our family is at war with them," said the master. "We must leave before they find us." "What about helping Morgan?" said Annie. The master strapped on his sword. "I have no time now," he said. "I must go." "Can't we go with you?" said Annie. "No, there is no place for you where we are going. You must find your way back to the house in the trees." "Alone?" said Jack. "Yes, you must go alone, and be aware of the samurai." "Why?" said Jack. "They will think you are one of us," said the master. "They will ask you no questions, and they will show you no mercy." "Yikes," whispered Annie. "But you have seen the way of the ninja. You can practice it yourselves now," said the master. How? Said Jack. Remember 3 things, said the master. What? Said Jack. Use nature, be nature, follow nature. I can do that, Annie said. Jack looked at her. You can, he said. The master turned back to Jack. Your treehouse lies to the east. That is the way you must go, he said. How, wondered Jack, how do we find the east? Before he could ask, the master bowed. Then he disappeared into the shadows. The 2 ninjas led Jack and Annie out of the cave and into the moonlight. The tall one pointed at the pine forest. Then they too disappeared into the darkness. Jack and Annie were all alone. Chapter 7, To the East. Jack and Annie stood still for a long moment. Annie spoke first. Well, I guess the tall ninja was pointing east, she said. I guess that's the way we go. Wait, said Jack, I need to write some stuff down. He took out his notebook. In the moonlight, he wrote, use nature, be nature, follow nature. Look, Jack, whispered Annie. Do I look like a ninja? He looked at her. She had pulled her sweatshirt hood over her head and tied the strings tightly. She did look like a ninja, a very small one. Good idea, whispered Jack. He pulled his hood up, too. Okay, let's go, said Annie. Jack put his notebook away. Then he and Annie headed east in the woods. They slipped between trees, and more trees, and more trees. All the trees looked the same. Jack got confused. Were they still going in the right direction? Wait, he said. Annie stopped. They both stared at the woods around them. Do you think we're still going east? Asked Jack. I guess so, said Annie. We can't just guess, said Jack. We have to know for sure. How do we do that, said Annie. We don't have a compass. Just then the master's words came back to him. The ninja master said to use nature, he said. How do we do that, said Annie. Wait, I remember something. Jack closed his eyes. He remembered something in a camping book. Now what was it? He opened his eyes. I've got it. First we need a stick, he said. Annie picked up a stick. Here, she said. Great, now we need a space with moonlight, said Jack. There, said Annie. They moved into a moonlit space between the shadows. Now push the stick into the ground, said Jack. Annie pushed the stick into the ground. The stick's shadow looks like it's more than 6 inches, said Jack. What do you think? Looks like it, said Annie. Okay, then that means the shadow is pointing east, said Jack. Neat, said Annie. So that way is east. Jack pointed a new direction. At least I hope it is. We're real ninjas now, said Annie. Yep, said Jack. Maybe we are. Come on. They took off, heading east, they hoped. Soon they were out of the pine woods and walking down the rocky mountainside. They moved slowly from rock to rock. Finally, they rested against a giant rock. Let's check our direction again, said Jack. Annie stuck another stick into the dirt. There, he said. He pointed to the shadow on the ground. That way. Annie peeked over the rock down the mountain. Yikes, she said softly. Jack looked too. His heart nearly stopped. There were flames of fire coming up the mountain. The samurai. Jack and Annie ducked behind a rock. Squeak, said the mouse. Quiet, Peanut, said Annie. Jack reached into his pack. He pulled out the ninja book. I hope something in here can help us, he said. Jack flipped through page after page until he found what he was looking for. It was a picture of warriors wearing bamboo armor. They were holding swords, he read. The samurai were fierce Japanese fighters. They carried 2 swords to cut down their enemies. Annie tapped Jack on the shoulder. Jack looked at her. She pointed up the mountain. A figure was coming toward them. He was very near. In the moonlight, his bamboo armor was shining. His 2 swords were gleaming. It was a samurai warrior. Chapter 8, Dragon Water. Jack and Annie crouched together. Samurai were on both sides of them now. They were trapped. Jack pressed against the rock. The samurai stepped closer and closer. He looked to the right. He looked to the left. Jack held his breath. "Be nature," whispered Annie. "What?" Jack whispered back. "Be nature, be a rock." Oh, brother, thought Jack, this was nuts. But he squeezed his eyes shut. Then he tried to be a part of the rock. Jack tried to be as still as the rock, as solid as the rock, as quiet as the rock. Soon he started feeling as strong as the rock, as safe as the rock. He wanted to be the rock forever. Squeak! "He's gone," said Annie. "They're all gone." Jack opened his eyes. The samurai warrior was gone. Jack stood up and looked over the rock. The torches were gone too. "Let's go," said Annie. Jack took a deep breath. He felt great. He was getting more and more like a ninja every minute. Maybe even like a ninja master. "East," he said. And they went east, down the mountain, between the rocks until they came to a wide, icy stream. The water seemed even wilder than before. "I don't see the tree house," said Annie. Jack looked across the stream to the dark grove of trees. Moonlight shone on their pale flowers. But where was the tree house? "I don't see it either," said Jack. "We have to cross the water first, then I'll try to find it." The water was crashing and rushing over the rocks. Squeak! The mouse peeked out from its pouch. "Don't be afraid," said Annie. She patted the mouse's little head. "Be like us. Be like a ninja too." "Let's go," said Jack. He took a deep breath and stepped into the stream. The icy water swirled up his knees. The current knocked him over. Jack grabbed some weeds. He held on tight as the water swirled around him. He was freezing to death. "Jack!" Annie grabbed Jack's arms. She helped him back onto the bank. "That was close," said Annie. Jack wiped his glasses. Luckily, they hadn't fallen off in the water. "Are you okay?" said Annie. "Not really," said Jack, his teeth chattering. He was chilled to the bone. "We'll never get across," said Annie. "We'll drown if we try, or freeze to death," said Jack. He pulled off the hood of his sweatshirt. He didn't feel much like a ninja anymore. Annie pulled her hood off too. She sighed. "What can we do?" she said. Squeak! Peanut climbed out of Annie's sweatshirt pouch and leaped onto the ground. The mouse scampered away. "Peanut, come back!" Annie called. "No," said Jack. "We have to follow Peanut." "Why?" asked Annie. "We have to do what the master said Jack. "Follow nature." "Oh, right," said Annie. "Follow Peanut." "But where's Peanut?" In the moonlight, Jack saw the little mouse. It was running through the grass along the stream. "There," he cried. "Come on." Annie hurried after Jack. Jack hurried after Peanut. They ran beside the rushing waters. A moonlit branch had fallen across a narrow part of the stream. It touched both shores. The mouse was running over the branch. "Peanut's going over a bridge," said Annie. She started to follow. "Wait," cried Jack. "We can't go on that branch. It's too small. It will break." All right, friends, that's it for today. Tomorrow we will finish our book, The Night of the Ninjas. I hope you guys are enjoying our book, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.